3, 2, 1, bud.
Why am I so bright today?
Because you're gorgeous.
The light is like there's no like
Yeah, that's weird.
line across my eyes or anything.
A sunbeam, a sunbeam.
Here we go.
Jesus looks like a sunbeam, sunbeam, a sunbeam. I will sunshine for him.
Okay, and in 3, 2, 1. Welcome everybody to this Sunday version of the Streakers Island podcast. That is right. We're getting right into this, and you know why I'm so pumped up? Because we just witnessed a couple days ago Team Canada take down the United States of America in the Four Nations Cup.
Yeah.
And we just got to say this here, that was one of the greatest hockey games I have watched. The
100%.
intensity, Jordan Binghamton decided to do his best Carey Price impression.
Patrick Waugh era, Jordan Binghamton.
It was just something that is incredible. And I'm sorry to anyone who's a Tkachuk fan. I loved watching Brady Tkachuk going,
They wanted that one so bad. They wanted that bad.
But it was hysterical. But like, Chazzy, I want to get this to you here. Like, what was did you really think Canada was going to pull that off once it got to overtime? Because I was uneasy going into that.
Well, I told you guys 4-2. I didn't want them to give us a heart attack, but yes, anytime that the U.S. grabbed the puck and they crossed that blue line, obviously our heart would skip a beat. But going into that, there was a couple plays where we were screaming at the TV and telling Connor to shoot the puck. Shoot the puck. Because we've seen it in Edmonton. Shoot the puck, and he looks for the pass. But then, they caught him all alone in front, and he just buries it. So, unbelievable.
And in our group chat, take that, Tkachuk brothers. We're saying now Marner might get $15 million after.
There you guys. There you go. Right. What's the reaction going to be in Toronto? You got Matthews on the U.S., Marner, which had a couple apples in the big game.
But there's one thing I got to say, Dan. You kept saying Jordan Binghamton was the guy.
Yep.
You kept saying it, and Chazzy and I were just like, you're on glue. Well, apparently you were on the right glue because Jordan Binghamton, he just played out of his mind.
As high as a kite on life, Will, you know. Jordan Bennington, okay. I get an 82-game season. He might not be the best by the numbers, but he makes a big saves when you need it. And like I said, in a Game 7 do-or-die day, best game, especially in Boston, I just had the gut feeling that he was the dude, you know. And he's new to this. When he came into St. Louis, when St. Louis was dead last in the league in January, squeezing the playoffs at 8, no one had faith in him as a goalie back then. And the reporter after Game 6, going into Game 7, asked him, "Are you nervous?" The way he says, "Do I look nervous?" He just goes in and steals the show. So I have full confidence in him. I've had since day one, and I'm happy he got it done. He's a good dude.
Supposedly you can get him riled awfully quick. And I didn't understand why the Americans were jawing on him. If you could see, they're jawing on him at the end of the play. But they said he could go off, but he was not rattled at all. And what was it, Tkachuk? He robbed Brady Tkachuk. The game was over in overtime with that glove. He was on. He was on.
I'll tell you one thing too. American fans are not happy with Matthew Tkachuk. If you were quote unquote that injured, why are you sitting on the bench?
Oh, he wanted to be on the bench. There was a lot of passion there. They wanted that.
I get it, but I look at it. A lot of American fans are questioning why he didn't play.
Because you got Kyle Connor sitting in the press box.
And you have Kyle Connor sitting in the press box, as Dan points out. And you have Kreider playing, who pretty much was invisible. Meanwhile, Kyle Connor's on pace to score 40 goals. He's sitting in the press box, twiddling his thumbs.
Did they was he hurt going into the game? We know that he was wincing in pain there with the first matchup. Then
Matthew Tkachuk was injured. Kyle Connor was not.
So he just wanted to see if he could go?
Kyle Connor's playing for Winnipeg today.
Yeah.
He's fine. And they decided to sit one of their best goal scorers in a do-or-die game. They didn't need more physicality. They showed that in the other game that they did. And actually, I think maybe America made a mistake by not setting the tone the same way.
Yeah, I agree.
When it went to just a pure hockey game, Canada ended up having that advantage. When America got everyone so wrought up, especially in Boston, and I'm going to say this too, I don't feel that Boston crowd was into it as much as that crowd in the Bell Center. It was a good atmosphere, don't get me wrong. And I felt it was electric, but I would say it was like 70-30 for U.S. and Canadian fans, where the Bell Center was probably 95-5. Like 95% Canadian, 5% American.
I say 98 too.
But it's really tough to say for America. I think a lot of people are going to be scratching their heads in a game where you couldn't score, why a guy like Kyle Connor is not playing, a natural goal scorer, and arguably one of your best goal scorers on the team. I mean, I thought Dylan Larkin had a great game for the States again, and I think more for your money, you owe Dylan Larkin a beer because he showed he's a much better player than you said so, and I owe Jordan Binghamton a 2-4. He played outstanding. And you know what? I'm going to say this now, too. Anyone who says Canada brought the wrong players, you can't say that now. They won. No, you can't. They won. Yeah. That's like saying, Florida just won the Stanley Cup, but they should have traded Bobrovsky. It's like, no, they won. When you win, you win. You're the best of the best. And we saw best on best is what these players want. I'm just going to say this. I can't wait to the Olympics.
Oh, it's going to be exciting.
And we got to tip the cap to the players. Like, they bought in to this tournament. They wanted it. The league set it up, and they gave us exactly what we wanted. Hard fought, like, competitive hockey. And we got, like, more than we could even, like, more than we could even handle going into that. So look at the Olympics. It should be a good one. But, bigger ice. It'll be a whole different tournament.
And you can say we got more for our money.
More.
But, man, I really got to say, I do agree with you, Chazzy. I think the players stepped up. And now I think, too, the NFL and the NBA, you look like total idiots.
Yeah.
Because both of your all-star breaks, I'm just going to be blunt, they sucked. They were terrible. You watch NHL players literally beating living crap out of each other in an exhibition game versus the NBA, they don't even want to dunk during the all-star games. Like, there's no competition anymore. And these other leagues have got to do something. If you're the NHL, though, and if you bring an all-star game back in 2 years or 3 years, I think the fans are going to...
You can't.
You can't at this point.
You can't at this point.
You've got to go. You've got to stick. Anything. I want to see more teams.
100%.
I want to see Czech in here. Yeah. I'm hoping, the political climate calms down and we see Russia back in here. Make it the Six Nation face off.
No. I want to see 3 more teams. And I want to see Russia and Czechia. And it'll be a 7-team face off. And the 17th is going to be the world. That way you're going to have guys like Draisaitl and Stutzla and Andre Kopitar and just those great players that come from countries where they can't put together a full team. I think that team might be the strongest team out of the 7, to be honest with you. That team would be stacked. But, because obviously you're not going to have Andre Kopitar show up with one team. But, one player. But you can't have the best of the best and not have guys like Leon Draisaitl is the leading goal scorer in the NHL right now, and he wasn't in the best of best tournament. That's a problem. You can say what you want about Ovi and politics, even though I'm not allowed to talk politics here. You can do that. That's fine. But when it comes down to it, it's not just Russia. It's also all the great players from the other countries, too.
So what is the conversation now of the next year? Is this a yearly thing, or it can't be a yearly thing?
The next year's the Olympics.
The Olympics. Okay, yes.
World Cup of Hockey. So basically, the way I think this is going to go, it'll go Olympics, World Cup of Hockey, 4-nation or 6-nation face-off. Then by then, we're back to the Olympics. I think we're going to see because this.
Okay, so you're not even going to have the conversation of All-Star anymore because of this way it lines up.
We clearly saw no one wants it. We had over 9 million viewers in Canada watching that game. Over 9 million viewers in the States. It was peaking well higher than that. And you got to remember, too, you're at a bar with only one box that's splitting the signal to 20 different TVs. 500 people might count as one viewer. So we arguably had over 20 million people just in Canada alone watching this. Yeah. The All-Star games had nowhere near that. This was putting up Super Bowl numbers. You cannot go back to an All-Star game.
The only thing I would like to see added is a skills competition. I do miss like the harder shot than. Well,
Then you might as well bring back the All-Star game.
No, not the game, but have an All-Star competition from within the face-offs. You know, you had that one day when everyone had like a rest before the gold medal game.
They need that rest.
You're not going to get tired of skill competition, bro. Come on.
At that level, to play at that level,
Yeah.
you're just going to wreck the intensity. That's all you're going to do. You're going to wreck the intensity. If you want a skills competition, do it at the end of the season.
Yeah.
Or do your team one that they usually do. They do a team skill.
That's a good one, too.
Like, you can't go back to that other format. No. After what we witnessed, you cannot go back.
Yeah.
No givesy backsies. All right, Gary Bettman, Pinky promised this with me. No givesy backsies. I honestly feel if you go back to an all-star format, you are just going to lose the millions of fans you just got.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because I think this is going to bring more fans to the NHL. This was exciting.
Oh, North America, it was lit on fire. Like the whole both countries were just lit. So
lit, no, but you just can't go back now. And I feel this is putting pressure on other sports besides the Major League Baseball, because their all-star game is actually, for what it is, it's good.
Yeah. It's very good, yeah.
Like, winner gets home field for the World Series. So
and the home run derby is pretty amazing.
Now, I mean,
well, because you still have top batters hitting in the home run contest. You have those guys that want to play. They want to hit homers.
Blue Jay players aren't going to give a crap about who gets home field. I'm sorry, that team's going to suck this year. But which we're going to talk about that in another episode. But like, all I'm going to say is Four Nations was a huge success. Congratulations to Team Canada. But I do want to say Team USA, I think that team was close.
Definitely.
I think they are a very high-skilled team that needs to learn when to shut up.
These guys want to win. You could tell that they are devastated.
But let's just be real. Let's just be real here. I think they didn't do themselves any favor by giving Canada more fuel, not just the political stuff, but talking about the group chats and then saying after we won that game, this is our game now. You saying that to Canada. Like, as Brad Marchand, which that just hurts me to say I agree with Brad Marchand, I might need a sick bag. But as he said, in a best-on-best tournament like that, you can't run your mouth. No. And the Kachuk brothers ran their mouth. They're great players. Now, I am curious to see after all the dust settles how these players do coming back to their home teams, especially, let's just be real here, Brady Kachuk coming back to the nation's capital of Canada. That's going to be interesting. Legitimately. And I am very interested to watch if the chemistry there falls off. Like, I don't want to get into the politics, but the politics are there. And he said what he said and tweeted what he tweeted. Or X'd what he X'd, or whatever the hell you want to call it now. But I am fascinated to see how this plays out. And I'll tell you one thing. If all of a sudden Matthew Kachuk's playing either this weekend or by Monday, you're going to have a lot of Americans really mad at him.
Yeah, of course.
Because he was missed in that game. Let's just be real here.
It could have been a whole different ball game if he was in there and
like Dylan Larkin,
as much as he was.
Dylan Larkin did a phenomenal job jumping up to that role.
He did.
I truly feel that. I think Detroit Red Wings fans are very excited to see how good Dylan Larkin is. I thought Slavin did a phenomenal job replacing.
He was insane on the point blocking shots. Nothing was getting through.
I gained a whole new respect for Slavin. He is a much better defenseman than I thought he was.
True.
But I am going to say this here. How are Winnipeg Jets fans feeling after Connor Hellebuyck at another elimination game allows 3 goals and under 30 shots?
Yeah.
You look at his playoff numbers, they're not great.
Yeah.
He was having a really good tournament. And I'm not saying he played bad in that game by any means necessary. But he was outplayed by Jordan Binnington. Let's just be real here.
Oh, 100% he was.
Overtime looked like prime Marc-Andre Fleury out there.
He did.
And Hellebuyck couldn't make the big save when they needed it there because they needed that save. And also, too, where the hell was Austin Matthews going?
Yeah.
I don't know if he was going to give Mitch Marner a hug. And I thought Matthews had a good game, but to have a defensive breakdown there, yes, he did. He had 2 assists. He had multiple high-quality chances. Matthews could have had a hat trick between the third period and the overtime easy.
Yeah, he had spots of glory there. He just couldn't score.
That just came down. That game came down to goaltending because I felt in every facet it was even. The forward groups, each team were getting chances. Defense groups were making big plays. Cale Makar was outstanding, and Drew Doughty looked like Drew Doughty from 10 years ago.
I call that.
It came down to goaltending. And the goaltending, I'm going to get nice and close here. U.S. should have won that no problem with goaltending. I'm just floating eyeballs. Look at my hair. It's a mess. But they didn't. It came down to in a one game and a winner takes all. And we see this in a lot of other sports more than hockey. Like when we're talking like, especially in the NFL or the CFL. It doesn't always matter who's the better team all year. It's who's the better team that one day.
Yeah, exactly.
And for that one day, Jordan Binnington was better than Connor Hellebuyck. And I'm sorry, Winnipeg Jets fans, they have to be concerned because he's done this in the playoffs over and over again. And does it keep happening? That's the $1 million question. Dan, you've never been a huge Connor Hellebuyck fan, have you?
Well, I gave a new respect to him this year because he is the best goalie in the league right now. He's a good dude. He's a great goalie. I just feel like he's kind of like Matthews. He doesn't have an extra gear. He doesn't step it up in the big games. As much as I've never been a Vince Marner fan, he had an extra gear, and he stepped it up this game. Not just the assist, the way he was forechecking, the way he was getting into defensive zone and blocking passes and stuff. It reminds me of that Game 7 in the Boston TD place again when Vince Marner blocked those two shots and in the fair period there. He had a really good game. And Connor Hellebuyck, you look at the eyes of the goalies, okay? The camera's getting in their eyes. And Binnington, his eyes are all lit up. And Connor McDavid looks so serious, wanting to kill someone. And Matthews is sitting there with his mouth guard. And Connor Hellebuyck's just standing there in space. Like, oh. I'll tell you what. If I'm an NHL team, I don't know off topic here, but if I'm an NHL team, we talked about bubble teams. If I'm a bubble team and my goaltending sucks, maybe Pittsburgh, I'm calling up St. Louis and getting Binnington, and I'm giving them whatever the heck they want.
No, you know what? We talked about this off camera since we're in the Binnington. Then we'll get back to Hellebuyck. I just Googled some stats on him here. But I think Edmonton might be giving Jordan Binnington a call.
Yeah.
Because Stuart Skinner has not had a great year again. He's been very hit or miss.
Ugh.
So if you can find a way to get St. Louis to take on Stuart Skinner and you can bring in Jordan Binnington for a playoff run, because I think Binnington proved something here. Because, Chazzy, you keep saying Edmonton is Canada's best shot at winning a cup this year. But wouldn't you agree their weakest point is goaltending?
Oh, it has been for the last few years. You ask any Edmonton other fan, they'll tell you that.
And if Jordan Binnington is on the market, which I don't know if he is or not, that's completely irrelevant right now to my conversation.
He may be off the market now.
He might be off the market now, but if you're Edmonton and you just saw what he did, are you thinking about maybe even though the guy does the best numbers now, he's a playoff performer and we can outscore ourselves out of trouble during the regular season?
Oh, he'd become a god like Connor if they hoisted the cup in Edmonton, like a Canadian god. Not like these status now after winning these four nations, but if he was able to bring a cup with Connor to Edmonton, like, yeah.
As Connor McDavid said, quote, this was just a little tournament. And you saw how fired up he was, so a little tournament. Imagine how amazing he's going to be in Stanley Cup Finals. And I actually like the trade, Jacob, for even St. Louis. Because St. Louis is going to be a selling team this year. And I don't think Skinner's a terrible goalie. I think Skinner's going to be a much better goalie behind a better defense. Let's be honest. Edmonton's a high-flowing offensive defense, right? And that's probably one reason why Skinner struggles as much as he does. But imagine you put Skinner behind Powenko next year. Maybe St. Louis will be a playoff contending team. And for Binnington, he's used to making crazy big saves and it's being stuck behind a high-flowing defense.
Now I'm going to talk because I thought you were wrapping up and I'm just about to speak and then you went on another tangent, but I like your tangents.
Thank you.
But one more thing before we get back into Connor Hellebuyck. Since we're talking about Connor McDavid and the Oilers, I love McDavid's quote when they asked him about Sidney Crosby passing him the torch.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, I don't know about you, but I think Sid's coming to the Olympics in 12 months.
Yeah.
Number one, I thought just out of a pure respect thing, I thought that was fantastic.
100%.
Because Connor McDavid is the best Canadian player, like on a pure skill level at this point.
Nathan McKinnon's not far behind him.
Nathan McKinnon's not far behind, but Connor McDavid is definitely the best. But there were times in this tournament where I still felt Sidney Crosby was the best player on the ice. I look at that Sweden game and I look at that Finland game in the dying moments. Sid, the mid-aged kid, found a way to be a difference maker. And I love the way Connor McDavid had that respect for him.
Yeah.
Right? To be like, look, I know that this guy is who he is. But quickly to get into Connor Hellebuyck, the last 2 playoffs, they've gone out in 5.
Playoffs?
And in 2022, 2023, he had a 3.44 goals against average.
Ooh.
And an 8.86 save percentage.
Ooh.
The year after that, in 23-24, he had a 5.23 goals against average.
What?
And an 8.70 save percentage.
What?
Connor, like if you look at Hellebuyck, okay, the 4 years before that, he had good playoff runs, especially the year when Winnipeg went
the third round,
right to the Western Conference Finals. He was a huge part of that. Right. But did you know, besides of that 1 year where he had 2 shutouts, Connor Hellebuyck has only had 1 playoff shutout between 2018 and 2024.
Yeah.
That's a shocking stat for a guy that in the regular season puts up these incredible numbers.
Yeah.
Like Connor Hellebuyck this year already has 6 shutouts. The year before he had 5. Yeah. The year before that he had 4. And the last 4 or 5 playoff runs, he's had 1. Not 1 per playoff run, but 1.
Yeah. And then I look at Jordan Binnington's stats that year he won the cup, and it's no comparison, a night and day.
Now, this is not me saying Connor Hellebuyck's a bad goalie. Connor Hellebuyck is arguably one of the best goalies in the league. And look at Sergei Bobrovsky. It took him a long time to really put up a consistent playoff run. Then he did it in back-to-back years, and he should have won the Conn Smythe that year. Yes, we're off topic. Chazzy's like, what the hell are we talking about? But that's okay. I think he just needs his milk.
I just wanted to put in a point there. When they're holding the cup, did you notice Connor's sort of like demeanor of like he's sort of like, I want the real I want the Stanley Cup. Like you could sense that. So
you saw a very different reaction from guys who have already won the Stanley Cup versus guys who hadn't.
Well, it's true. I know I was even sitting there with Jacob watching it. I said, Jacob, I wonder if players like Connor McDavid who haven't won will even touch the trophy. Because you know, like when they go into playoffs and they win like the Eastern Conference Final, Western Conference Final. I forget what you call those trophies, but they never touch it because they want to wait till a Stanley Cup. So I was wondering if we were going to see the same thing here, but we didn't. But it would have been interesting if we did.
Yeah, body language told a lot there. Yeah. Little hoist.
And McDavid was like,
Before we wrap it up, I just want to ask you guys one question. Okay. Dan, I'm going to start with you.
Okay.
Did the Four Nations face-off meet your expectations? Was it under your expectations, or did it exceed your expectations?
I give it an A++. It exceeds.
That wasn't an option, but sure.
They exceed my expectations like 250%. Going into this tournament, I'll be honest, I was not interested. I didn't give a bleep about it whatsoever. They called your rosters way too early. They put guys on a team I didn't agree with. I thought, we're just going to see a bunch of prima donnas figure skate, la, la, la. I couldn't give a bleep about it. Then we saw it, and we proved we'll never see a NHL All-Star game again. We're going to see 10-minute overtimes next year, and fighting has a place in the game. So find a way to get Enforcers involved and get fighting up, because that was the best tournament, the best hockey, besides the Stanley Cup Finals we've seen in our lifetime.
And it's interesting when you bring up the rules. I also want to bring up, please bring in the 3-point system.
Yes, I forgot. I knew I was forgetting something.
One of our viewers, Shades, commented, and make sure you comment when you see our shorts and our shows. He commented saying overtime losses used to not be worth a point either. We've already screwed up the whole historic thing. So screw it. Let's just get to 3 points, make it make sense. See, here's the thing. Apparently, the PWHL can do math, but we can't. So let's get the 3-point system in here and let's fix it. But now, Chazzy, I'm going to get off my rant here and get off my high horse and ask you the same question. Did this tournament meet your expectations, or below your expectations, or exceeded your expectations? And don't give me a grade like Dan.
Well, I will. I'll make a side comment. I think it exceeded all our expectations because we saw how much the players cared about it. They were bought in. They showed passion. And PK Subban said something on the weekend of that and the difference between, like, hockey players are playing hurt. They're always not 100%. So we know who's in the lineup every night. We know these guys are going to give it their all. So hopefully, like, we can see some of this carry over into the other leagues and some of the chemistry and over to the players, which for the players' perspective, the fans reacted. You give them what they want. You give them 1,000% of what they will respond, and that's what they like. And the results showed. And you said, I don't know how much more was that how much more was the audience, the viewership than the first game? Was it double? Because you said somewhere around 9. The first one was somewhere around 5.
It was around double. So, and again, too, for all we know, we look at our household of 3 counts as 1. Depending on how a bar is splitting up their TV signals, my only count is 3 or 4 TV signals when there's 500 people in that bar, right? So, like,
you pretty much have the country in Canada. Like, Canada's watching the entire country.
Like, legit, Dan went out during intermission to go get his Papa Burger from A&W, not sponsored by A&W, and he said the roads were dead.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Nobody was out, right? Everyone was either at home or at a bar or at a buddy's or in the bathroom on their cell phone watching this game. I saw it on social media. Beer leagues had a TV on the bench so they could watch the game while playing.
Yeah.
Like, we've never seen that, right? And I think that's where, for me, this exceeded my expectations. I honestly thought the players were going to give it 100% because they've been saying they want best on best. But I didn't expect the way the Four Nation fan base really bought into it. Because I was worried you're going to have too many people like more for your money. And sorry, Dan, I'm calling you out. Who said they're not going to play hard? I don't care. Blah, blah, blah. I want more milk. But instead,
we need to get you a cow, Jacob.
The cows, the fans really got behind this. We had sellout arenas for pretty much every game. Even Sweden versus Finland in Canada and in the States, it was packed.
Oh, yeah.
People wanted to see it, and everyone put on a show.
Yep. And I actually think you got not just TV wings. You look at TV deals. Look at the whole McDonald's commercial with McDavid. We talk about fast food here, but whatever. Look at McDavid and Matthews.
Fast food.
Yeah, exactly. look at McDavid and Matthews. McDavid and Matthews with the McDonald's commercial. You know, Crosby of the Gateway. And not just that. Look at the ticket sales. You cannot get a cheap seat in Boston or Montreal for under $1,000 for either one of those games. So you look at how much revenue it brought into the NHL, how much revenue it brought into players. It's 1,000 times more than an All-Star game.
Also, too, just to bring that in when you mentioned revenue, look at how much Super Bowl ads sell for. Now you just had something else that's getting 9 million viewers.
Yeah.
Are we going to see it where the Four Nation face-off is making millions upon millions in ad revenue? Because I don't think the NHL expected it to blow up this big. I don't think any of us expected it to blow up this big. No one really thought that this was going to be what it was, where the fans just embraced it to a point where there was so much patriotic pride.
Yeah.
And if now they can monetize that, and not just them, we're talking fantasy leagues and the whole 9 yards can really make a big change on that. So I think this is a beautiful day for hockey. This tournament was 1,000% successful. And you know what I loved about it here? The 3 of us, we all talk about how it exceeded our expectations, but all in different ways.
Yeah.
Usually when something like this happens, it was great, but I really enjoyed it, but I wish. The only thing we wished for was that it was longer with more teams, which that means it was a success. It's like when you go to a restaurant and you have a really good meal. you leave satisfied but wanting more because that meal was delicioso, not delicio. Again, we're not sponsored here on the Streakers On podcast.
Delicio's dead,
Well,
unfortunately.
we're
I miss
powered
a
by
Delicio
Streakers
pizza.
Gaming, of course. But this is really time, I think, for the NHL to capitalize on this. And if they ever go back to an NHL All-Star game, whoever's idea it was should be automatically fired. Like, shot out of a cannon at the Argos BMO Field. Just get him out of here.
Argo!
But thank you very much, everyone, for tuning into our special Streakers Island Random Rant podcast. Make sure you download the Streakers app today on your mobile devices and give the app a chance. Make sure you send us any feedback you have. You can reach out to all of us on social media and through Streakers Gaming. Go on the website. There's a contact page right there. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. But thank you very much for tuning in. We appreciate you. Sure, why not? What's your mindset?
That's just a real quick one here. I'm calling the producer Jacob off here. But mindset, regardless who you cheered for in this tournament, and regardless of what your views are, it just proved stay patriotic to your country.
Couldn't have said
Yeah,
it
guys.
myself. Yeah. But thank you very much for joining the Streakers Island podcast. Looking for more Streakers Island content? Make sure to follow us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok on the spot when the party don't stop. But thank you very much for joining us. I'm Jacob Moore, sports analyst. Below me is More for Your Money. And beside me is the CEO, Chazzy. We'll see you Tuesday.
Bye-bye.